You're watching The Tesla Life, a show by the Tesla community for the Tesla community.
At some point, we'll pick up a Mark Coughlin to run his show.
That's right. We are Mark free. And what's Mark say to start the show? Hello, everybody. So that's how I'm going to start it out. I'm happy to have you here with us. Whether this is your first show or you're a longtime viewer, whether you are a new Tesla owner, a longtime Tesla owner, we welcome you to the Tesla Life, where we follow a company that is helping us all move towards a future free from fossil fuels. Yes.
Right
hey, there's Mark.
Hello.
So we found Mark, and hello, Hockey Day, and Speedcuber, and yes, absolutely, I agree to all of this. And JC Jimbo, yes.
Well, I'm just going to sit back and be a co-host tonight because Patrick's certainly got this well underhand. I can tell.
Okay, Casey Green, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Well, today was an adventurous day. It's the baby's first not milk day, and she had a blast with oatmeal or some kind of cereal, apples and bananas, and then I forgot what day of the week it was, so that's why Mark doesn't already have the link in advance. Wash the car.
Parenting a newborn
here and there, Casey. That's all right. That's all right.
We still got it before the show started, which was a plus.
That's right. And Mr. Mark Coughlin, you can. Yep. Now you can take your show back over, Mark. Go ahead. Take it from here.
Thank you so much, Patrick and Casey, for getting this started. We have got a ton of news tonight, so let's get to it. Of course, with our little bit of technical difficulties, we haven't had time to purse the news articles out, but I
know which one I want. I sent you guys a photo earlier in the week.
Oh yes, well
that's my topic.
Why don't you lead with that one then, Casey? Go ahead.
Okay, so we got news from the Observant about Tesla Semi. They updated their webpage, so let's take a look at that real quick. And then, does anybody have the link I sent, or do I gotta go find it?
You gotta go find it. Okay.
Well, the good thing is Patrick replied to it this morning, so it won't be so bad. So, of the changes we found to Tesla Semi, they kept the specs the same as far as what it could do for 0 to 60 and the consumption while under full load and the range under full load. However, we found that it only has 3 motors now instead of 4. Which is actually a good thing, because if they do 4 motors, then it'll be more performant than it was supposed to be. And if they don't, then there's savings in manufacture. It's a beast.
It's a beast.
This used to be a button where you could give them $20,000 to get in line, and now you can just give them your email, and then they will email you later. It says get updates. They gave us this like zoom. It's not just a static picture anymore, so we can see a little bit of details. Like the mirrors are still there; they look a little bigger than before. The mirror cameras, I should say. You've got your navigation over here, just like it is on every other Tesla, and then you've got your vehicle. I'm assuming that if the truck weren't in park, that this would be maybe your EDR or some other function here.
I wonder if they are using the motors from Plaid.
They must be, because initially they were using Model 3 motors, and now they've gone down to 3. And the Model 3 motors on the Plaid is based on Model 3 motors.
Right.
Yeah.
If you do the carbon overwrap and you get more power and torque out of each one, why not go down to 3?
Exactly.
And it's not like you're using... The whole point was to try to reuse something they already have in production for another vehicle. And
yes.
So you can pick either one then.
Right. But if you have less pieces, there's less to break, and there's less less man or robot hours, and it's a good idea. They continue to tout the cost of ownership, and then the low fuel consumption. They have a video of the unveiling. Let's take a look at the specs here. They're still saying that you can do the highway speed limit up a 5% grade with full load. This figure here was new in the call out. It may not be an actually new figure, but that is on the website is new, that you can save up to
Mhm.
$200,000 over 3 years in fuel savings alone. Don't forget maintenance and any other downtime you're going to have for inspections, etc., that you're going to have from a diesel device. And here's where
Mhm.
they call out the 3 motors. We're not just making it up. They're committing to the less than 2 kilowatt hours per mile.
That's incredible. I want to pause just for a moment on
Yeah.
the hill climbing.
Okay.
So, a lot of I-5 goes from California to Oregon to Washington. So it's up and down the West Coast, 1,500 miles, a lot of traffic on that, a lot of freight on that. And when it has to go up Mount Shasta, as in Northern California, man, do those trucks slow down. They've actually added 2 extra lanes off to the
Yes.
right, so these trucks can go at 10 miles an hour. I mean, it's crazy. And the whole time, you just see stuff spewing out of the stack there. And it's not that they're rolling coal; it's that they're just trying to get up the hill. But
Yes.
this is going to be awesome. This is
Yeah,
exactly what we need.
those stats are also as the truck is fully loaded. So
Mhm.
that's pulling a trailer that's 85,000 pounds. Just
82,000 because you get a
82.
or 82.5. You get a boost for having an electric truck because they
Mhm.
understand that everybody else's truck is actually heavier because of the batteries. So Tesla gets bonus pounds, whereas everybody else gets makeup pounds.
Yeah.
so they bring them back to 80, and then Tesla just gets two an extra ton. Just here's 2,000 pounds just because.
And another thing I noticed that did change from the original specs, I believe, was that the original charging time was to 80%.
Yeah, so now they say that was it 70% in 30 minutes instead of 80%, but we're not sure if that's being inclusive of the 350 and the 500-mile truck, or if that is the new charging time for the 500. But part of that could be because now they're using, instead of they haven't used the phrase mega charger this time. They use the word Tesla semi-charger, and our friend Joseph over at Tesla owners of San Joaquin Valley was making a post about the new superchargers for Cybertruck. And how is that related? You'll see in just a second. You'll see why I emailed Patrick and Mark excitedly. So here is, well, it looks like to be like a version 3.5 station. It looks a little different than a regular V3 station. But look at the massive amount of space for these pull-throughs.
Yeah.
And look at the width. So it's meant to accommodate Cybertruck, but I'm going to be, if I'm in the area, I'm going to be rolling my Model X through here with a load. And that will be a blast.
Those spots are labeled compact. Tesla does not make it compact.
No, they don't. Even the Model 3 is actually a full-size car. The Model S is an executive saloon, and the Model X is just ridiculously large. And then
I want to see a parking spot that's labeled ridiculously large.
So Dr. Arkham Safadi asked if this was actually for semi-truck, and we know it's not because it's the wrong pedestal. And then Joseph replied with, nope, semi has a different charging cable. It's megawatt compatible. But look here. This isn't the same MCS2 connector we saw over at the Frito-Lay plant. This is MCS3.
Yes.
On a Tesla megacharger. Or Tesla semi-charger, depending on whatever Tesla's going to actually call this thing. Maybe they'll call it both. But the words megacharger never appeared in the new release. So that is a completely standard worldwide connection. So it doesn't matter what continent you're on, this is the connector. So none of this Europe versus North America garbage, none of this China is special. Like, this is the port. You can now commoditize this, and it'll bring down the cost for everybody in the world on both charging and being charged. So on the equipment end and on your vehicle end.
Well, at least the industry has learned from their mistakes, and someone got out in front of this earlier than the other charging port, the J1772, because someone finally realized that this electrification thing is not a passing fad; it's actually happening.
Yes. And that's why we have the Tesla 1 connector and the Tesla 2 connector. The Tesla 1 was for the Roadster, and Tesla 2 is everything you see in North America and Japan and Korea. But the Type 2 connector is what we ended up with in Europe. And even that was not quite. Tesla took advantage of some optional features that nobody else did. So that's why in Europe, Germany forced them to go CCS. And so now in Europe, they've got a standard port, but you can't say that's a worldwide standard port because CCS 2 and CCS 1, they are not compatible. So now you still are making 2 different chargers and 2 different vehicle connectors, and that's the beauty of the MCS 2 and 3 is that you have one plug worldwide.
Standardization. It's a wonderful thing.
And it's a megawatt scale, so you can still get the speed that Tesla was talking about, the price that Tesla was talking about, and I think it's a great thing.
Yeah, and our bet still, my bet is still, you guys can voice your own opinions, but I think Frito-Lay is getting the first truck still. As far as I know, no other trucking group, including like Walmart or others, I have not seen anything about them getting any type of a charger on site yet. And the Tesla drone army has not come up with any other possible exemptions to that. So I think Frito-Lay is getting the first truck in Modesto, California still, and we know it's supposed to be before the end of the year. So
it makes sense because right now they've already installed megachargers at Frito-Lay. They're MCS2 connectors, but we've seen what happens when somebody vandalizes a V1, 2, 3, or those are what we have so far, 1, 2, or 3 supercharger cable. Tesla comes out really quick and just replaces the cable. So at this point, changing an MCS2 cable to an MCS3 before it's actually open should be a cakewalk for them. And Hockey Day is asking if the Semi has a pedestrian sound system. And
wait! Before we skip, Mark said we get to all make our bets here. You guys both say Frito-Lay, and before we leave that topic, I'm gonna say nope. It's going to be
Tesla themselves.
Tesla. Yes, yeah. The Giga Nevada's going to get it. They're going to win.
Count.
I win. Yes, victory.
That doesn't count.
That's the only other deployed. That's the only other deployed Tesla semi charger or mega charger.
That means Patrick won 3 years ago.
Right. Right after Elon said it too.
Yeah.
So Hockey Day is asking, does it have to have the pedestrian sound system? And that would depend on how it's regulated, really, because NHTSA is in charge of that as well. But the semi driver is a lot more on the hook for everything that happens around the vehicle. So maybe they don't have to contribute to the noise pollution. They do still have air brakes, so you'll still hear that. It'll still be making noise all over the place. And if they didn't make any exemptions, like they just said vehicles, 2019 and newer, then the semi will have it. But if they said passenger cars have to have it, then perhaps not. Also, as I pointed out in the past, I haven't found a single F-150 Lightning that makes any pedestrian warning sounds either. And if anybody finds a easy complaint, I would like to be petty and submit that to NHTSA for their next update.
Well, that's interesting. Maybe it's something about light vehicle compared to truck. Maybe there's some distinction when it comes to noisemakers, that they only head up to a certain weight standard, which only encompass the vehicles as opposed to trucks. I don't know.
Right. And
that's interesting.
If the F-150 Lightning doesn't have to, and if the Semi doesn't have to, then perhaps we can be free of the noise with our Cybertrucks. Because if I can't make cool DJ horn sounds, I don't want it to make any noise. Just like my current car is silent, I'd like it to be silent rather than the cacophony of downtown.
I don't know.
With
35-inch tires, I don't think it's going to be all that silent. I think
exactly. The whole problem was that I know there was a lot of other input, but the biggest input was the lobbying by the people for the blind that teach the seeing eye dogs to see. They didn't want to do another course, and so they lobbied to make sure that the cars made noise still, rather than having to teach the dog to listen for the sound of gravel into the tires or the sound of the inverter winding or whatever. Yes, I'm not saying that I don't respect blind people, but I'm saying I abhor laziness, and that was an easy thing to train. And yes, it would take an extra course, and now they've added to the noise pollution in the world for them being cheap.
Well, it's only below 19 miles an hour.
Right? But you're still responsible for anything you hit. So
visibility in a semi is not great. So
the semi I would get, but your Prius shouldn't have to make noise. And in fact, a lot of the Toyotas sound like something's broken.
Yeah.
So orders have been suspended.
Yeah.
and it's switched to we'll email you when we want to. But and that's kind of not surprising, because if with Tesla's announcement that they are going to start delivering before the end of the year, I bet they got a lot of additional orders as soon as that went out. That a bunch of people said, okay, I'm getting on board now because they're going to start delivering. So I'm going to put my order in immediately. So I have a feeling that that may have been to shore up the tide of new orders that were flowing in, is probably why they did the suspension of orders. But
I'll probably be getting in at some point myself. Maybe not if they keep the 20,000 requirement just to look at it, but if they give me an estimated time frame, then I'll look at when I can get in, because I've got some stuff to do with the semi.
Set up your company so you can get that extra $40,000 discount.
I've got a company.
Do you have to have a company?
It would make things easier, and you need to for the 40K.
Okay.
Hockey Day is asking, does Rivian have DJ by a pedestrian sound system? They do have a noisemaker on the. So you're right. You have a point. The Rivian is a mid-size truck, though. The F-150 is a full-size truck. The Rivian makes noise. It sounds like a spaceship is going by.
Maybe it's just that the people with the Fords haven't discovered where it is yet.
It's an Easter egg. You have to find it.
Exactly. You got to find it to use it. Yeah.
Well, these were all at dealerships and fresh deliveries. So if I'm petty like that,
you would think it would be automatically on with delivery, but we'll have to see. Hopefully
unless they're claiming that these were designed in 2019, but even then, like that's how the Model S and Model X got their exception to 2020 or 2021, because they were actually old models, and so they didn't have to do it until the absolute cutoff. But then that happened, and they were there on day one with the little speakers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, excited to see when these start to roll out. Great to see that the website has been updated, and it looks like the stats are now locked into place. Like I said, there's been some shift in it, but still, I wouldn't say anything that's going to deter customers because of the advantages that are clearly outlined are still in the positive side compared to maybe only charging to 70% as opposed to 80%. Reduction of motors, I don't think that plays into effect at all.
The charging is still...
Tesla is going to balance that kind of stuff to know the truck's performance.
Right. The charging is still required. It still exceeds their requirements for logging and shift work. So they can't, even if it still charged to 80, they still couldn't use it all. The only thing you have to worry about there is steam drivers.
Let's also keep in mind that Tesla, with charging, especially of a new unit, is going to adjust that over time.
They will.
There's going to be some playing with it based on what data they get and how it's being used in real life. So that's definitely could be something that would the goalposts may move multiple times before they're locked in.
Yeah, it's not like they came out and said, "Oh, we're only doing 2 motors, and by the way, it can't keep a speed up the hill, and it's not as fast as acceleration, and it can only pull 40,000 pounds instead of 80,000." If they did that, then people would roll their orders back.
Yeah, might be a problem. Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Casey. Let's move on to the next subject, and this is about our friends in Las Vegas. The Las Vegas Loop. Someone with a camera caught a quick picture of a new addition to the Tesla fleet in the tunnels. Now, we don't have it in the tunnel, but we have understanding that this particular unit does travel in the tunnel, and this, of course, is for ADA compliance, American Disability Act compliance.
So they determined that the Model X wasn't enough?
Apparently, this 6-seater, or can be 6-seater, can be configured for different ways.
You know what though? I'm wondering if, like, even if you set up the Model X for ADA, having a vehicle with no doors and a missing chair where you can just lash down the chair is probably a lot easier to deal with.
Right. So that may be the case. Now, no one's caught a photo of this actually in the tunnels, but it has been spotted on site. So
the next question with that is,
not sure if that is going to be, used that often or not. But for compliance for the act, it's something that Tesla and everyone else has to comply with.
Yes.
Depending on your clients that come there, some can have disabilities, and they need to have access to the ride as well. So,
Yeah.
as
This is a good
Casey
thing.
mentioned, it may be just easier to roll a chair onto this and strap it in much quicker than you could with. You'd have to gut a Model X, really, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
In order to get that type of use out of it. So there would be seats to be removed. There would have to be a customized, ramp and whatever else to make.
And even after you do all of that, it would still slow you down such that it might put them below the threshold of what their contract says for how quickly vehicles must move through that system.
So if any of you are going to a Las Vegas convention and you're going to check it out, look for that. Send us a picture or two if you can see it in operation. That would be very interesting, or a quick video. That would be interesting to see it in operation. But apparently someone had discovered this, and that particular unit is being used for that.
I wonder what this does to our theory that the Boring Company is going to be the first place that a level 5 FSD is unleashed on the world. I mean, yeah, it'll be able to deal with not running this through, but this one will still have to be manually driven unless they strap it up with Autopilot. and that would actually be a great selling point for the other OEMs. Like, hey, this system works not just on a Tesla. Look, here's a gym.
Exactly.
And it's running Autopilot.
Yeah,
that's funny.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they could do that. So yeah, my guess is that they're going to take out all 4 of the back seats, allow a ramp access, and then tie downs for the wheelchair. You'll have the 2 in front seats. One will be a human driver. I don't think they're going to do Autopilot anytime soon on a non-Tesla. And then the other one is for another passenger if there's somebody riding
like a companion
with the companion seat. That would be my guess, and that. I think that's probably not going to be counted against them in their capacity. That's they're accommodating, so there's no reason that they should be like, oh yeah, you didn't get enough passenger per minute per hour because of that. No, this is something that's needed, and you can take whatever time you need to get your get loaded and get unloaded. There's just no reason to.
I could totally see somebody, like, if they did try that, like, okay, let's put this away, and now I'm reporting you guys for not being ADA compliant. I've actually been at places where somebody got upset and then forced a software audit on us. We passed, but man, that was petty.
Yeah.
We live in a litigious world, but it's good to see them doing the right thing.
Absolutely.
Next story, off to Shanghai, and this particular story just outlines the multiple different battery packs that are coming our way for Tesla. MP3 batteries, which are made by CATL, are going to be incorporated into the Model 3 assembly line in Shanghai. And this is going to give this Model 3 a slightly different flavor. They're indicating it's a little bit more battery dense. You'll be able to get a little bit more mileage out of this vehicle, and cost-wise, it's a little less expensive for the manufacturer. So that's a plus for Tesla in this case. But this is now the 3rd different type of battery that Shanghai has produced, and I see this getting even worse. Like when it comes to tracking what kind of battery you have in your vehicle, I could see in the future where there may be 6 different types of batteries that are possible, depending on what vehicle you bought, the model, and what time frame you bought it in. Because it seems as we're moving forward, and these constraints of less and less batteries to pull from the industry as a whole. Tesla's becoming inventive, which is what they do when they are short on something, and they have developed a new battery that will work within their infrastructure. So this is another one, again, the 3rd one that's going to be used at Shanghai. We've already talked about the Blade that's coming to Giga Berlin.
Right.
So again, that's another flavor of battery that is going to be used in Tesla vehicles. It's going to be interesting as to how these things are going to be tracked. I don't know if they will be tracked, but remember when we moved just from the original battery to the LFP, that there was some confusion about people about how would I charge the LFP compared to the nickel battery? Is there any difference? And then we found out, yeah, there is some difference. You can charge it fully and not deplete the battery at all over time. Whereas the nickel battery, you only want to charge to 90, 80% top charge unless you're leaving on a trip. So that is something that will this show up as a software number almost on the screen, so people know that they've got a certain battery pack. Whereas now they know the version of software that they have. It could be listed in the car structure. What was your question, Casey?
Yeah, it'll probably be on the software page, just like the MCU that you're running, which motors you have. Tesla is the only LFP battery manufacturer that doesn't say keep it at 80 to 90%. Everybody else does say, just like Tesla says, to get it to 100, like for exercise, so it can figure out where the top is. But Tesla's the only one that says just keep it there. They may have a different chemistry of LFP.
It could be.
Yeah.
I can't see them recommending that to a public that's purchased their vehicle if that's not the case. Because, of course, they don't want to deal with warranty issues if those do come down the road.
The consensus is that even on those other ones, that you're only talking maybe another 100 cycles less or 20 cycles less. So even if you did it, like I said, Tesla can tell you, hey, you made up for the extra 10 miles by being able to run this one at 100%. And so what if your battery dies 4 months earlier when it's at the end of its life cycle? The other thing that came up was the Blade battery we talked about at Giga Berlin. That was rumored to be coming along with this M3P battery from CATL to Giga Shanghai, and instead it is only at Giga Berlin at the moment. The Chinese battery at the German factory, not at the Chinese factory.
Right.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So the cool thing about this for me is this has better energy density and it's cheaper.
Yeah.
This is what puts you up the next step on the hockey stick curve.
Right.
And we've been talking about how this day is coming. It's obvious. Batteries are getting better 5 to 7% every year. You compound that for a decade plus, and eventually you get batteries are the limiting factor. They are the most expensive part of an EV. Their price is coming down. Their performance is getting better. The tipping point is going to happen, and this is just making it more obvious that by the end of this decade, EVs will be cheaper than gas cars. But that doesn't mean you should wait to buy one.
Get one as soon as you can afford it. So one thing that I pointed out Sunday, just as Patrick said, that the 5 to 7% improvement year after year, I had speculated that perhaps, because this is 2 years ago when we first saw the LFP batteries at Tesla, and then we'd heard nothing new about it except they kept using them. So I was wondering if perhaps they rolled their 2 years and did just a step.
Right. That makes sense.
They didn't say, they just said better. They didn't say how much better. If they said 14% or 10%, I was like, that's it right there. But it just said better.
Yeah. Well, I can see more batteries coming our way because of the shortage that's out there. Everyone's scrambling to purchase batteries across the entire industry. And a lot of companies are figuring out that they can't just buy it from the manufacturer of batteries and just get shipped what they need. That's not going to happen. They have to work at their supply chain as Tesla has. And in their case, they're coming out with different configurations to match the performance they require for those vehicles. So we will most likely see more of this as time goes along.
Yeah.
Next, I'm going to play a little game with you two here.
Okay.
CyberTruck dual motor. Okay. We know the price is going up. Yes. Elon has alluded to that. Okay. So my question to you two is, what do you believe the opening price of the Cybertruck for the dual motor is going to be? And I'll give you 3 choices. I'll give you 3 choices first. Is it going to be under 60K? Is it going to be between 60K and 65K? Or is it going to be over 65K?
I'm going to say it's going to have gone up whatever percentage points the other vehicles have gone up for inflation. And apply that to what it should have cost if the thing came out on time.
So
And
that
that's what
means,
we did.
Casey, your bet would be it's going up 25%, and that would push it around 60, 63, 64,000.
There you go.
So there used to be, there was a single, a dual, and a triple motor.
Right. Yeah.
So and the single motor was the 40K version, right?
Right.
Correct.
So we think that's going away. Your question was about the dual motor.
Correct.
What was the price of the dual motor?
50,000.
Oh, it's going to go to at least 60. So I'll take the 60 to 65.
So you're going to take the middle one as well. Okay.
So I want to shake it up a little bit. So are the dual motors going to be like Rivian, where it's both motors on the rear wheels, like the CyberTruck toy, or is it going to be like the rest of the fleet, where it's one in front and one in back?
Oh,
Because
I assume the latter.
Because if they get rid of the tri-motor, then it'll be one on each wheel, right?
I will assume that if they do a dual motor, it should be one front, one back.
Yeah.
That's
That's
still a
the only way you can
possibility,
get
but I'm
all-wheel
wondering.
drive.
Yeah, that's how you get all-wheel drive. But I'm wondering if that way you don't have to make a differential for the truck. If you have one that's got rear-wheel drive with two motors and one that's got four-wheel drive with all four motors. I'm not saying that they can't do a tri-motor, but I see the tri-motor and the single motor just going away.
You want a truck to be all-wheel drive.
Yeah.
And we asked our people on Twitter, our followers, as to what they thought it would be. So you can tell by this poll, we had over 300 respondents, and most believe, 52% believe, 65K or higher is what they believe.
Robert said 75K. Hockey Day said 35K higher. Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of interesting. I was in the middle myself, was where I thought it would be, where all three of us were. So it's
wisdom of the crowds. They know better. We're just more optimistic.
We'll go with the crowd. And we will have to see. That'll be one of our updates as that comes out next year.
Sorry, that was the other part of my what if was, if they drop the single motor, does that mean now that the dual motor's in a lower trim, so does that adjust where it needs to come in at on the price scale?
Ooh.
Whether there's a tri-motor or not. We know there's a quad motor.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
but will there be the higher trim quad, the performance quad, or a ludicrous quad, or a plaid quad?
Well, that's
a plaid and maximum plaid.
I tried to do one that we're pretty confident will come out, which will be the dual motor, most likely. Yeah.
You got plaid and maximum plaid.
Exactly. Mad Max plaid.
Yeah.
Next, we're going to jump into third shift being announced for Giga Berlin. Supposed to be starting December sometime of this year, that they'll be rolling on to their third shift. And of course, this is just a progression of the ramp up that's going on there. Coupled with that story, I can add the other part of it was that, oh no, that's a different Gigafactory. We'll wait for that one to come up naturally. But we've got a third shift coming on, and that will be starting sometime in December, and that of course will lead to that ramp up, and hopefully, I wonder how long it's going to take them to get the full ramp up where they expect to be. Is it going to be halfway through next year? Is it going to be end of first quarter next year, or am I thinking way too fast? We'll have to see.
I'm wondering, are there any Gigafactories that don't have three shifts now? I would suspect that if there are, they might be Giga New York and possibly Giga Nevada.
Well, we know that Shanghai's running 6 shifts, right?
Right.
So they're running one for New York and for Nevada. They're running extra.
Yeah,
Fremont and one for 2 others. Yeah.
You have a 4-hour shift, but you have to get 8 hours of work done.
Yes. And Fremont's been doing it forever now, so.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Here's a cool story that came out this week. LAX, which of course is the Los Angeles airport, it has been working on a project to revamp the airport. Actually, they're adding a people mover. They're doing a number of things to different terminals as well. But this story relates to their status as a major charging hub, Because, of course, you get thousands of vehicles that wait at the airport for their owners to come back from trips or vacations or whatever. And a lot of people would like to have their car charged. And, of course, California being king of EVs, makes a lot of sense that that airport is going to have a lot of charging to do because of all the electric vehicles that are registered in that state. This story indicates that they're getting close to completing their 1,300 charging spots throughout the airport properties.
Wow.
They, with 1,300 charging spots, of course, they are considered one of the largest charging hubs in America, which stands to reason that that's a large number I haven't heard of from anybody actually in the U.S. We have heard things about some European cities and countries that have a lot of charging, but man, 1,300 spots is quite a bit.
Yeah. I was at IKEA yesterday, a different one than we normally go to, and they had a charge point there. So I'm wondering if the charge point is just a new vendor. This one had over 300 solar panels. They had just the solar panel awnings, the big ones, and underneath the third row was a couple of charge points. That's like, that's cool. Let's go plug in. And then I didn't see anything about price in the app or on the units. The app was telling me update, so it might have told me, but I didn't see it. And I was thinking, man, if this isn't free, it'd be really poor form to charge regular price for this when you got the sun beaming down on these things right here. And lo and behold, it was only $1.30 for 10 kilowatt hours. So I didn't feel bad about it. Makes sense to charge a little bit, but if they charged market rate, I would have been a little bit irritated by that. It was literally, it's underneath the solar awning. You look up and see the back of the solar panels.
Actually, IKEA was one of the first corporate groups up here in Canada that started to supply EV charging at their locations when that second wave of EV showed up. When Patrick got his Leaf and we got our Volts,
and Bjorn started his freezing experiments
to roll out this charging infrastructure. And a lot of IKEAs here in Ontario still actually are free of charge to plug in while you shop. So that's
I was thinking with the amount that they charge, the amount you come in spending anyway, they could give it away and nobody would notice. I think the ones in Norway were free for a while at least, because Bjorn was always stopping over there for the beginning of his channel and
top up, so he can deliver his goods.
So there's a comment in there about I wonder how many people come back from trips with a EV that's drained. Having this many charging spots at an airport is great, but I wonder, do they have some just level one in long-term parking? Because
they've got to have a mix. They've got to.
Yeah.
A lot of the long terms I've seen have level twos for no good reason. They, like you said, all they need is a level one. Mm-hmm. But if they're going to spend a level two on it, at least you could, be assured that you can hit the air conditioner or the heater as the plane's landing. Well, I guess before they tell you to turn off your phone again.
Yeah, it does make you wonder about like a level two, if it charges a car up in 6 or 4 or 8 hours even.
If you got a Hummer.
if that charge plug is now plugged up or blocked for 2 weeks, does that make that charger really that useful? Or would just having some 110 plugs where you could use your own adapter that comes with your car and plug it in to the 110 because you're on a week trip, wouldn't that make more sense and be cheaper for the installation of those facilities at any particular airport?
Well, that's what I liked about what they called out on this one is they said that the contractor's got a mix of level 2 and level 3 charging. And the level 3, the DC fast charge, since there is no such thing as level 3 anymore, the DC fast charging, that would be like in the cell phone lot and the just the general, I'm going to come in and be gone in 30 minutes or less. Like I said, it's a little bit of still of a waste to put a level 3 there. But again, if somebody shows up with a Bright Drop or a Hummer, or if you could fit the Tesla Semi under the awning, a level 1 would really suck.
Right. DC fast charging makes sense. Like, say you rented an EV, you're returning it at the airport, you charge it up, you drop it off, and then you hop on your flight and go. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And I guess public safety note here: if you have a fully loaded Tesla Semi, the airport is not the place to be. Even
That's
if it
good
does
advice.
fit under the awning.
Very good advice.
Well, you remember that Van Hool electric bus we saw that traveled across the country using solely Electrify America, and it was kind of funny. Like some of the pictures they showed us, where it was like parked up in front of the Walmart, it took up the whole row.
Yeah. Next story, Patrick's going to handle this, and this, of course, is about Giga Texas and achieving a new milestone. What's that, Patrick?
That's right. Giga Texas reaches a production capacity of 1,000 Model Ys per week. Yeehaw!
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so the ramp up continues there as well.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Oh,
And
actually,
I don't know how many shifts they have, though. That was one of the questions that we were talking about earlier for Berlin, but I don't know about Austin yet.
At least two.
Yeah.
I have not heard a third at Texas as of yet. There's been, and I would think that Tesla would be happy to trumpet that if it was happening. So I don't think so yet. But also connected with Tesla, Texas, is that there was a recent photograph from the drone army of a bunch of stampings that were piled sky high outside of the plant. There was people saying, well, these are scrap ones. These are ones that aren't being used. They typically would not stack them in a racking system if these are scrapped units.
They would stack them on themselves, on the ground.
Exactly, because they wouldn't care with scrap units because they're going to melt them down anyways and try to recycle them.
And according to Elon, they were just
on rack systems. So
like the hoods and the doors.
Was quite impressive. Looks like there was a lot of capacity there.
The other thing is, according to Elon, they would just chuck it back in the smelter right now anyway, like they do with their wheels and other people's wheels and any other scrap that actually meets their requirements.
Yeah.
Rather than wasting time stacking them and then retrieving them.
Although I gotta believe it's a specific recipe that they have, obviously, because they're running these Giga presses that are hot shotting the liquid into a mold. And it's got to dry within a fraction of a second. There's a bunch of principles that have to happen in order for that to be a good cast. So I got to believe they're on top of the chemical balance of whatever that melted cauldron it contains.
Yes. Unless they're doing like the like you do with the oil, the fractionated.
If they can separate it. Yeah,
because the way he said, like the way he described it was like they were cavalierly just tossing rims in there.
Just driving through the city looking for spare rims.
Oh no, I got boosted. I better go check Giga Texas.
Too late. No, melted. You're too late.
They have a very specific alloy.
It's become a Model Y now.
Your rim is part of a Model Y. There you go. You want to buy it, you can do that, but otherwise
buy it back.
You're not going to see your rim.
It's mostly here in the A pillar.
Exactly. Oh man.
Obviously, for those that have trouble with sarcasm, we were just clearly joking. If your rims are stolen, it's not by Tesla. Doesn't mean that they didn't get them, but Tesla isn't going out stealing your rims and making Model Ys from them.
I would like to see that police report, though.
Elon, you've got a subpoena for this.
Now, Patrick, maybe you can tell us what this photo is of.
Oh. Yeah, so the internet is speculating that this is going to be a helicopter landing pad.
UFC Tesla.
Right. I think it's for a Gaga ball. That's really it. It's just a big Gaga pit.
I saw somebody said that
it's the new Ben Stiller movie, Dodgeball 2.
I saw somebody suggest that they were using it to train the FSD on European traffic circles, but it doesn't look like it could do that.
No.
Yeah, and it would be weird to have a helicopter landing pad in the middle of a parking lot. I mean, there's parking spots right up against it. That just doesn't seem right. So I don't know. We'll see. I did like the CyberTruck shaped planter boxes that they had. That was kind of cool. And I can't wait to see those on the Tesla store sometime soon.
Only $2,000 a planter.
We'd like
Bitcoin only.
We'd like to get the drone army to get a little closer picture of those planter boxes. If anyone's listening from the drone army,
yes,
get a few pictures a little bit closer than that previous one.
Oh, that's a good theory, Dana. stockpiling those bodies for Berlin when Russia cuts off the gas, because that would make it more expensive to operate over there.
Oh yeah, casting is definitely energy intensive, and if the natural gas supplies are shut off, Giga Berlin would be hurting. And so if Texas or other places can fill that gap, that would be smart.
But are their furnaces electric? I thought they were.
I'm not. I think they are, but even then, if part of their energy supply comes from natural gas,
yeah. Well, then that's just more incentive to get your solar panel array completed. Come on now, stop dragging feet. Hockey Day says that what's on our screen is for the drone army to take off and land. If they don't like you, your drone disappears.
Solar sales in Germany have skyrocketed, which is a good thing that's coming out of this, I guess.
And home renovations across the energy wise, caulking, insulation, all that stuff, because they're anticipating a tough winter because of what Russia's been doing. So
and this was all on the roadmap, but it wasn't on the roadmap right now. It was like 10 years.
Right.
They're doing it in one.
So I would imagine that those supplies right now, solar and everything that's home heating related, are running thin. They've got to be, because there's a scramble now in Europe, not just Germany, but Germany in particular.
They were on the other end of that pipe.
Because they're the ones where the pipe terminated. Exactly. So not a great situation to be in, but hopefully Germany will be able to, with reserves and being able to ration, they'll be able to get through this coming winter. Next, let's get on to Casey. Have you got any updates for us about what you've been reading about 10.69 that was just recently released to the early FSD beta holders?
I didn't get it. Actually, no, I did not. I said, how did he know that I didn't get it? The special crew, the safest drivers that didn't ever take a safety test, they didn't all get it. So that was one thing.
Interesting.
Yeah. And the ones that were on timeout, they're still on timeout. so not just the ones that were on good behavior for actually still proving that they were somewhat safe, versus the ones who didn't prove that they were actually the safest drivers. Not just the exceptions didn't get it. But beyond that, from what I've seen, which was really cool, they now have a creep indicator in the UI, so you know where the car is creeping to. Because for me right now, sometimes there are roads where the car says I'm creeping, and it's like, are you going to stop at the road edge? Right. You're a long boy. You're gonna stop in the middle of the road, and sometimes it does stop in the middle of the road, and then on a road with less traffic, that's fine. But if it's a busy road, I want to know in advance that it's going to try and crawl out into the street and where. And so now you can see that rather than having to guess and start sweating bullets. And they weren't.
That's a big one for me, because when it's creeping forward, I don't know if it's going to just creep to get a look or if it's actually starting to go. So I often end up stepping on the brake and then having a disengagement when the car could have been doing the perfectly right thing. But I see it moving towards oncoming traffic. Of course, I'm going to step on the brake because I want to be cautious with it.
But the good thing with that input from both of us, though, is that it shows that we're not comfortable with where it's going to see if it can still see. But we might not have put that in if we knew how far it was going to go to get that peak.
Yes.
There was also Tesla's new head of AI did a talk where he showed how what the car is doing as far as stopping people from running into buildings, other people, and rivers. And we saw the river demo, and this was on Twitter. He showed where somebody had the car in reverse and they smashed the accelerator because they thought they were hard on the brake, and this would have been this person's legs. And instead, safety autopilot, stopped the car, and then the human pilot was able to remove their foot from all the pedals and recover their senses. And the other person didn't have a massive injury, which was phenomenal. And he said that this technology is in this 10.69 update. We also saw Chuck's turn. Elon had pointed out that would be better, and I watched about 20 minutes of trucks turn, and it was much better.
Mm-hmm.
Not
That
perfect,
pedal
but better. Is that what you're saying?
Much better.
Much
Okay.
better,
But
Yeah.
not perfect.
That pedal misapplication prevention. A show said something like they're detecting and stopping about 40 of those a day.
40 a day, yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that was just a small part of a talk. He was going through showing us how the car can actually see around corners a lot better than we thought, how it handles it knows what its blind spots are, and now in this new version it actually is keeping better track, because the version that Patrick and I have, it's got like a microsecond of object retention. It's like, you know how they say about babies,
it's like a goldfish.
Right. It's like, oh, that pedestrian is no longer in my sight, and they've been gone for more than half a second. They must have disappeared, and then they show up again. Right. So now, right. So
You're assuming people leave to alternate dimensions around the car.
Right.
Right. So now
come back.
if they cross in front of a car or a tree or a pole and it loses track of them, but they don't stop, it will have estimated that their speed within a percentage. So when they show up, it's not surprised that they're there, and so it's not slamming on the brakes. It was already slowing, assuming that that the baby stroller or the guy with the dog is coming out from behind this car that it knows it can't see. And so that was an awesome talk. I think it was like 35 minutes. If you're into the nerdy stuff, totally worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's going to be a 10.69.1 coming out. Hopefully I'm in that group. And then a 10.69.2, which will go out to all 100,000 of us. Whether or not you will get your out of your autopilot jail at that point remains to be seen. But at least you'll have the software, and you can see what your car would be doing if you weren't playing on your phone or accelerating too quickly, or sorry, not accelerating. Any of the other stuff that would get you strikes, like not paying attention to the car.
Yeah.
It doesn't care that you accelerate quickly. I do that all the time. The following too closely, I think that might still be in there. From what I've heard of some people, when they let their kids or spouses drive the car, when it's completely turned off, just doing its thing, they're still racking up the strikes. And I still think that it's got to be looking at the phone or just like looking out the window and the camera sees them. And because I haven't heard of anybody's kid or spouse doing it yet, doesn't mean that hasn't happened. Nobody's reported it to me of them having anything happen on a car that doesn't have the interior camera like mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. So we'll keep an eye on that. Also, Elon has indicated that as of September 5th, the price of Autopilot is going up to $15,000 US.
Yes.
So if you haven't got on board and you're thinking about it, well, it's time to think fast, because September 5th is coming up quickly.
Yes.
So, and also a PSA, if you're going to charge this by credit card, which is how you have to do it, make sure your card can take the $15,000 hit to the card. Clear that with your bank, because that would be horrible if you tried to sign up on the 4th and your card doesn't work, or failed, or worse, it denied you after you submitted it. So
yes,
keep that in mind. Keep that in mind.
Next, the raise in price. One of my friends was just ragging on me, saying, "I can't believe that he's raising the price on this. It's not even done. It's not fully functional." And he has a Model 3, and I was like, "Well, did you buy it when it was cheaper?" No. Well, then why are you complaining about the price going up? You didn't buy it. You're not going to buy it. Why do you care? And he's like, "Oh, it's just the principle of it." Oh, shut up! I don't want to hear any more stuff.
I've always felt that the price was right for the previous, or the previous price was right for the current level of what we can see and touch.
So you think they're just slightly ahead of where they should be?
So the theory is that perhaps they're trying to push you towards subscriptions, because on a subscription, they get to continually get that money from you.
Oh yeah. So I agree with that. Subscriptions are probably the right way to go. So many people have said, "Hey, I'm going to get a new car and I want to transfer." Well, no, that's not an option. So just get subscriptions. And we have it on our vehicle now, and I paid a whole lot less. Every time the price goes up, that makes my car more valuable. I'm okay with it going up.
So this also brings up the question of like the Model Next. Obviously, whatever 25,000 inflation adjusted Tesla wise is, 15,000 is going to be a significant chunk of that car's price.
By the time that car comes out, it's going to be 25,000. So it's going
to be 50,000. You buy the car for 25, you buy Autopilot for 60.
It'll be subscription only.
That he believes that this is worth $100,000. So
he's said it several times. Yeah.
15 is not where it's stopping. It's
a drop in the bucket.
going much higher. So keep that in mind.
So do we think that the Autopilot price will be honored for the Cybertruck owners, or are they going to go back on that as well?
It will be honored.
I hope
That's
so.
my guess.
Good question.
They even said with this price increase that any order placed before, even if it's delivered after, they'll honor it. So I'm guessing they're going to honor it.
But if they didn't do that, then there might be riots in the street. Because that was an actual order, although they could say it was a pre-order reservation. That would be their way of getting around it, but it would be really sleazy.
Yeah.
We shall see. Next, look at this. Neuralink has announced that it's going to have a show and tell, basically. But the creepy part of it is it's going to happen on Halloween.
Whoa.
Oh, no. Are we going to see zombie pigs?
Zombie pigs.
That should be kind of interesting.
Yeah. So, that was kind of an interesting announcement. Halloween. So, look forward to that. We've got AI Day coming up in late September, and now we've got
from now.
And now we've got a end of October show and tell for Neuralink. So keep that on the calendar.
I'm excited.
Last but not least, Oakland Police, Oakland, California, are looking for your help. If you own a Model Y that's white, that's only half the Teslas sold in Oakland, California, I'm sure. Yeah. Then they are after you to come forward because they actually have a photo of a Model Y white that's sitting on the street.
The roof rack.
The link we have, you can follow the story completely. But they're believing that if that vehicle had its cameras activated, it may have picked up information that would help them solve a murder. So that's what Oakland Police are looking for. Is if you know someone that owns a white Model Y that was in Oakland a week ago, this may be able to help the police with a crime that you're trying to solve now, because whatever happened in view of the cameras apparently. So if Sentry Mode was active, you might have something to help and help solve this. So keep that in mind.
They'll definitely need a forensic data analyst, unless you were also beeping at a bad driver at the same time near the murder happening, where we just stored it normally, where you can say, here's the file.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of interesting, and this is becoming more and more common with police departments, because now they have figured out that all these Teslas have camera systems that are typically active, because of course drivers want to record what's happening around them and as they drive them, and of course while they're parked. So police departments are starting to call on more and more Tesla owners as they determine that a vehicle was in sight of a crime that they could help with. So,
except the German and Chinese police, they went the other approach. Right. Said, don't bring that around us. Oh, we're afraid.
They wrap the car completely in brown paper so it can see nothing while it's parked. Yes.
Which I like that these other police departments are figuring out that one, that driving electric themselves is actually useful and a savings, and B, the citizens can actually help them do their job versus, oh no, don't come near us. Oh, we're afraid you might catch us being bad. Come on, guys, just get modern.
Stop doing bad things and let us drive the streets, right?
Don't be bad apples. Yeah. One bad apple spoils the bunch, right?
Yes, that's the whole saying. Yeah.
Well, with that wrapping up, we want to thank you for watching the show. If you haven't already, please give us that thumbs up. Press that subscribe button. That helps us out. We want to thank Lee Moon for the music that we use every week. And shout-outs. Let's go to Casey first. What do you got for us?
So I've got a show on Sunday. I referenced it. It's not just Tesla, but I drive a Tesla, so it's a significant portion of what goes in there, and it's kind of interesting because sometimes I'm breaking stuff, and other times Mark's breaking stuff, and I have time to sit there and think about it. But either way, I'm sitting there thinking about it. It's kind of cool, and I talk about electrifying all the things, and there it is. And eventually, at some point, now that the baby is sleeping through the night, you'll see some pre-recorded video show back up, and I've got some new cameras to make it look better as well. So that'll be fun. Over
Casey
at
is
YouTube.
less of a zombie each and every day that goes by.
Exactly.
Until Halloween, at least.
Right. You can catch that over at youtube.com/Casey Green. That's KACEYGREEN. And if you want to catch this audio podcast, you can watch it also at CaseyGreen.com/Tesla Life. I think it's /Tesla Life, but just go to CaseyGreen.com and then click on Tesla Life from there.
It'll be there.
Yeah. Or just go to your
Very
Tesla Stitcher app and just type in the Tesla Life. It's quicker.
Very good. We thank Casey for that. Patrick, what do you got for shout-outs today?
Shout out, hey, happy split day. If you have one Tesla stock today, tomorrow morning when you wake up, you'll have 3.
Yeah.
And yeah, they'll be worth 1/3, but because math, but
Yes.
still.
You're not getting 3 shares.
Yes,
Because
today is
math.
split day.
Best explanation ever.
And I have a little PSA for you. So, for all you Tesla owners, if you're using what's the easy you have a seat setting to get in and out of the car. Easy entry, yes. So if you are shopping and you have a watermelon and it fits right perfectly behind your seat, so it won't roll around, but then you get home and you go into your garage and easy entry kicks in and moves your seat back.
I don't like the way easy entry is implemented, so I actually turned it off. I tried it once and turned it off.
Not that I know anybody that this ever happened to.
You and Jeremy Judkins.
So PSA about easy entry in watermelons. All right, so yeah, I will go on with my normal stuff. I blog occasionally at carswithcords.net. Please check it out. And I'm with the Oregon Electric Vehicle Association. You can find us at oeva.org. Thank you.
Sign up for Drive Electric Week.
Yes.
Coming up quick.
That's right. Go to the Drive Electric Week website and find a activity happening in your region and attend it. Sign up, register, and volunteer. Help out.
Yeah.
With that, thank everyone for joining us this evening. Join us next Wednesday, where together we will find out what is happening in the Tesla life.
Yes. Derek, I see the utility, just the way that it goes for me. I didn't feel good.
Stay positive, test negative.
Have a great week, everyone.
I would probably also smush watermelons. Catch y'all next week.